Welcome to Creative Tien channel. In this video, I'm going to make a hoodie or a head and neck warmer combination. I see a lot of similar design in crochet. Today I'm going to use my brother 260 bulky knitting machine to knit it. And I'm just going to use a knitter and not a ribber. And this can be a nice gift knitting project. The yarn I'm using is Karen Colorama Halo. This is a very pretty yarn. It's actually category 5 bulky weight, so I'm using the bulky knitting machine. It might be a little bit thick for LK 150, but you can always try. And here is my drawing for the design. And there are many ways to make this type of hoodie. And I try to keep it simple, so it's basically rectangle shape on the top and another rectangle in the bottom. And you can flip up the bottom piece from inside, so it will look like that. And this is my dimension, about 10 inches here, about 15 inches here. That's to your shoulder. And the bottom piece is about 5 inches. So you can turn it inward to become the neck. And based on my swatch, I have 3.5 stitches per inch and 5 rows per inch. So we calculate all the stitches. That's 75, 35. And 5 inches here is 25 row. For the button, I'm not going to do the ribbing. I'm just going to fold it over with stockinette stitches. And it's the same here. For the front, I will just knit a few extra stitches and fold it in. So basically, everything is stockinette stitches. So I will start with this piece. Since we have 5 inches and we are folding in half, so actually it's 10 inches in height. So it's 50 rows for the height. And here we have 35 stitches. That's about 10 inches. And we want to double the width. So it's actually 70 stitches. So I can cast on 70 stitches, knit 50 rows, and fold it in half. And I can continue knitting going up. And because I want to have a few extra edge stitches, I will cast maybe 3 or 4 stitches extra on both sides and then continue knitting plain stitches for 75 rows. And then I can just bind off, sew up the top, and it will be done. So first we will start with the bottom piece. I will just cast on 70 stitches and 50 rows on tension 10. That's my tension. And the upper tension, I always keep in the middle unless I need to adjust it. So I start casting on from left 35 until right 35. And I'm just going to do the simple E-rub. Set the tension back to 0, 0, 0. I will knit my first row and hang some weight. I'm using my cast-on comb from my standard gauge machine. You can use whatever tools you have around the house. If you have LK 150, you can use their cast-on comb too. Now everything's set up, I will just continue knit for 50 rows total. Now I have 50 rows. I'm going to hand back the cast-on row. I'll place some weight in the center to keep it down. And here is a cast-on edge. I'll just hand it back one by one. You can pick up the stitches like the center of the upside down V, or you can pick up in between the two V's. It's easier for me to pick up in between the stitches because the hole is bigger. I will push out all the stitches so the stitch doesn't jump out of the needle. And we'll continue pick up all the stitches and place it back to the current needles. You'll end up with one stitch off, and that's normal, so don't worry about that. Now we are going to do the second part, and basically the same stitches, just keep knitting, except that we want to add a few stitches on both sides so we can fold it in and sew it up later. So we just increase about 3 or 4 stitches, and then we'll knit the whole length to the top. That'll be 75 rows. So I want to increase 3 stitches on the left side, and my carriage is on the right side, but I still have the yarn tail from the beginning, from my cast on. That should be enough yarn for my 3 stitches. You can just hand knit these few stitches. Let me do the hand knit. So I place a yarn in the hook and hand knit the first one. That's the extra stitch that doesn't have the paired one after folding up. And those 3 are the new stitches. So I will do kind of E-wrap, but do it twice. Open the latch. Place the yarn in the latch. So when we push back, one yarn is inside the latch, one yarn is behind. And let me do it again. Make sure the latch is open to place a second yarn. So that's 3 stitches there. And again, I can push all of them out, so it's easier to knit. For the right side, it's the same for casting on, but I can use the working yarn. So 3 stitches out. The first E-wrap and the second E-wrap goes to inside the hook and push it back. So the hook will close and we'll knit 1 stitch. This way it's just more secure than the plain E-wrap. Now the yarn go back to the carriage again and we can continue knitting. So I'll change the counter back to 0 again. And we will knit 75 rows. Push the needles out. And then we'll add the weight. I have some claw weight. Now we'll start to knit 75 rows. The first row will be harder because of the double layer. We can add more weight in the center if it gets a little bit loose. I'll add some weight. And hand the weight from below. Now we're ready to continue for 75 rows. Now we just need to bind off and take it off the machine. Use any method of bind off, it doesn't matter, because you don't really need it to be stretchy or anything. Move the second stitch to the first one. Need one more stitch, and then transfer the stitch back. Just make sure the tension is not too tight. That's a finished piece. Next, I can fold in the edges. Here is the 3 extra stitch. We'll fold in and just sew it up on both sides. And then we can fold it in half and sew up the top. So I leave the long yarn tail, and I'm going to use my yarn needle and sew it up. I sew up the edge, and I will continue sew up the bottom piece. I'll go from the inner circle and then connect the outside. I will pick up the outside of the V and sew them together. This is the top of the head, and I'm picking up the V from one side. Here is the next V, and then the V from the other side. Both legs of the V. There are many ways to seam up, but this is an easy way and it doesn't look too bad. So here is the next V. And on the other side, also the V. That's the back side of the head, and you can make it more curved just by pulling the yarn tail a little bit. So you'll be like that, and you can just sew up from inside. So that will be more curved. Or if you want, you can keep it straight. That's a different look. I think I will make it a little bit curl just by doing that and sew up. So that's a triangle, and I just sew up this way. You can wear it 2 different ways. One way is to push the bottom piece up so it forms like a neck warmer inside the hood. That will be very warm. I hope you liked today's project. Next time we'll do a simple neck warmer and a fingerless glove. Thank you so much for watching, and see you next time.